Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, Tasmania will shut its borders to all of New South Wales from midnight as COVID case numbers in that state continue to explode. One of our top health chiefs breaking down in tears upon revealing the news this afternoon. Our reporter Garth Burley is in Launceston and has the details for us. Garth, what does this mean?
Good evening, Louise. Well, it means from tonight, New South Wales will be classed as high risk, so people will need permission to enter Tasmania. For locals returning, it will mean 14 days home quarantine. That includes some school children who are set to return to the classroom next week. Now, a decision on that is expected tomorrow. It's forced to scramble home before the deadline, but for some, the decision was taken out of their hands, with a handful of flights from Sydney cancelled. The sensational move comes despite barely any cases reported in regional New South Wales, but still a massive spike in Greater Sydney. The Premier maintains this preemptive strike is to ensure public safety. The no doubt emotional news for many people, even rocking one of Tasmania's top health chiefs.
For a person to travel from that region, they will need to apply for permission to enter the state. We'll continue to monitor the situation.
We have been through this before. None of us have wanted to go back to this, where we've got large parts of the country locked out of Tasmania.
It comes hot off the heels of a border ban with Victoria, who are in the middle of a lockdown, as well as New South Wales, which remains tonight the country's COVID epicentre and is struggling to contain the rapid spread.
All right, thank you for that, Garth Burley. The AFL is facing its biggest COVID crisis it's ever faced, with some players attending exposure sites. Essendon's Andy McGrath,
the fact that Andrew McGrath is not there. What a combination he has
was thrust into 14 days Hart Hotel quarantine. The rest of his playing group remains in the clear. Their game against North Melbourne tomorrow will go ahead, as will the rest of this round's fixture. McGrath caught up after attending a Wallabies match earlier this week, as well as other AFL players. Connor Nash is out of Hawthorn's team tonight. Toby Green and Rowan Marshall were also at the game. To the day's other news now, and a man has been arrested following a dramatic pursuit in Wynyard overnight. Police intercepted the 47-year-old's vehicle just after 8:30 before conducting a drug test and search for illicit substances. The man allegedly obstructed police and attempted to flee the scene. Police pursued him on foot, arresting him a short time later. A large quantity of cannabis was allegedly found inside his vehicle. The man has been charged with multiple road safety and drug charges, including the trafficking of a controlled substance. He's been bailed to appear in the Burnie Magistrates Court next month. A Burnie man has been caught allegedly driving almost 5 times over the legal alcohol limit. Authorities say they intercepted the 43-year-old driving in the wrong direction down a one-way street. A breath test returned a reading of .241. The man had his licence disqualified for 2 years and will face court next month over numerous charges. 2 people have been arrested over a string of thefts in Tasmania's northwest. Between June 19 and July 6, Smithton Police attended multiple reports of burglaries. Around $65,000 worth of property, including power tools, a chainsaw and 4 ATVs, were allegedly stolen. Some items have since been recovered. A 25-year-old male and 39-year-old woman have been charged with numerous offences and will appear in Burnie Court at a later date. Investigations are continuing. Disability advocates are demanding the federal government make the COVID vaccine mandatory for all staff in the sector to better protect the vulnerable. They believe the spiralling Delta variant has emphasised the need to act now.
COVID has stolen a lot of Michelle Hamlin's true passions.
I missed out dancing, wanting to go to discos, going out for dinners and stuff.
But what upsets the 36-year-old the most is the swirling fear she could contract the virus. Some of her friends are so scared they refuse to leave home.
More at risk. Yeah, more at risk.
She lives with an intellectual disability and relies on a support worker to help with day-to-day life. Close client contact multiple hours of the day, yet it is not compulsory for staff to have the COVID vaccine.
I honestly think that it would give them a higher level of confidence.
Advocates are pleading with the government to change this and make the jab mandatory for all staff in the sector, similar to aged care.
These workforces are all on the front line. They're all doing jobs where you can't socially distance.
Able Australia says only a third of the nationwide disability workforce are vaccinated, a stark contrast to the 90% at Burnie provider Coastal Residential Service who've already received a jab.
We've just had our eyes on that goal of keeping our participants safe and our staff safe.
With the surging Delta strain reported to be 1,000 times more infectious, they believe now is a pinch point.
Certainly has increased the urgency of people who are working in the disability sector getting vaccinated.
While also helping people like Michelle return to normal life. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government is set to enter talks with landowners about sealing Wailangta Road once the Tasman highway upgrades at Paradise Gorge are completed. The road served as an alternative route for residents while dangerous rocks were removed along the stretch of highway over a 6-week period. Infrastructure Minister Michael Ferguson says the government intends to resolve road ownership issues before undertaking feasibility assessments. Lauderdale's TSL clash against Glenorchy was worth more than the 4 points today, with the match also doubling as a fundraiser for former player Ryan Wiggins. Supporters at today's match rallying behind him and his family, with the club overwhelmed by the support.
A typical winter's footy day at Lauderdale, with the action hot out in the middle. Off-field activities, however, took centre stage as Skybus Oval hosted a day for Ryan Wiggins.
We've just come together to fundraise for him and, show our support.
Ryan is currently being treated in a Melbourne hospital after a serious accident a fortnight ago. From raffles at the gate to an impressive list of silent auction items inside the club, people were digging deep to support his recovery.
Everything's just blowing up. Everyone wants to support, and it's just amazing that, everyone can come together.
Lauderdale was Ryan's original club, forging many lifelong friendships.
Around the club, he was, always have a smirk on his face and, walked around, big frame, big guy.
Played junior football here as well as 152 senior games, so he's a life member at our club.
The club praising the community's generosity.
It's incredible the amount of amazing people out there that have shown their support and, just come forward without even being asked.
Players also hoping to do their bit on the field.
Hopefully put on a show, because I'm sure if we can show him the scores at the end of the day, I reckon that might put a smile on his face.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Jack Riewoldt celebrating his 300th game in style with a 6-goal haul. And Jack Riewoldt received a special present from Damien Hardwick last night. He was given a T-shirt with a map of Tasmania on the front and Clarence's logo on the back. While appreciative, he says it hasn't gone down well with some former North Launceston players on the Tigers list.
There's a couple of North Bonnie boys that play for the Tigers in Ryan Mansell and Toby Nankervis, and they've sworn to never put this T-shirt on. They were wrapped when they saw the map logo, and then they saw the Clarence logo on the back, so they weren't happy with it.
In the TSL, a final quarter surge has helped Launceston overcome a spirited Tigers this afternoon. In other matches, an emotional Lauderdale side thrashed Glenorchy, while Clarence spoiled Brad Cox Goodyear's 200th game with a thrilling win over North Launceston.
Bar North Launceston, the Tigers are the only team this season to give the reigning premiers a 4-quarter challenge. And early on, they were rampant, blitzing the Blues in the first term. Mitch Thorpe laying down the law, calling on Launceston to tighten up. 4 goals in the second put the Blues back in the contest, but the Tigers were still creating headaches and led by 13 at the main break. The third, an arm wrestle, with Kingborough 10 points up with a quarter to play. Launceston finding something special in the last quarter, 3 goals to none getting them over the line. An ugly 4 points for the Blues, but a win is a win. At Lauderdale, the Southern Bombers were looking to do it for Ryan Wiggins. They were fired up early on, jumping to a 20-point quarter-time lead. Glenorchy taking their chances in a tight second term. The margin was just 19 at the main change. The second half, a Bomber bombardment. An 8-2 third term putting the game beyond doubt. Lauderdale doing Ryan proud, running at comfortable 81-point winners. And at Utah's, North Launceston marked Bradley Cox Goodyear's 200th game. The first half a tight one, North leading by a point at quarter time.
Gives himself a bit more distance, a bit more power, and that's going to sneak in. Tommy Bennett.
Before Clarence reversed the margin at the main break. The tension boiling over, with a massive brawl taking place at half-time.
He's now 1 against about 5 Clarence players. This is getting ugly. There's a siren's gone here.
The Rouge jumping clear in the third to a margin of 8 points. It was a tight and tense final term, with scores level deep into the quarter. But Clarence edged ahead late and held on, spoiling the party with a 2-point win.
Goal and steps a goal! He might have won the game here! He might have won the game for Clarence!
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The Northern Hawks and Cavaliers have again flexed their premiership muscle, cruising to victories in State League netball. While it was a nail-biting affair in the day's other match, with only 2 goals the margin in the match between Devon and Kingston. Neither side took total control in the sea-soaring match, but Devon held on to claw a 50-48-point victory.
Good evening. 15 was the state's top today in Burnie, Hobart 14 and 13 across Launceston and Devonport. A high of 12 at Flinders Island, Smithton and Strahan 13 and 6 at Lyowini. On the close-up shows cloud covering the west and south of the state. Further out, a cold front is moving off the New South Wales coast while mid to upper level cloud is seen streaming over WA. Tomorrow high sits over Central Australia and extends over the rest of the country except for Victoria and Tasmania. Southwest to westerly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, swells up to 6 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for all Tasmanian coastal waters. And minor flood warnings are current for North Esk, Meander and Macquarie rivers. Tomorrow's forecast now 13 across Hobart and Richmond, ooze a shower or 2. In the north, partly cloudy about Launceston and Devonport, Deloraine 12. Burnie and Strahan tomorrow 13, a shower or 2 at Curry. St Helens sunny and 14, 13 across Swansea and Whitemark. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast Monday, showers about the west and far south extending to northern and central areas. Tuesday, showers with fresh to strong and gusty northwesterly winds. And Wednesday, showers about the west and south, mostly fine elsewhere. Capital cities, a shower or 2 in Perth tomorrow. Cairns, mostly sunny and 33 in Darwin. And currently Hobart and Launceston 8 and partly cloudy at Devonport 9. That's all for weather tonight, Lou.